Hey guys, so this is Monday's video notes. Let's get this situated here. Now, for those in my homeroom, this first sheet, you have completed it before, but I wasn't there to walk you through it, and I wanted to walk you through it. So, let's get started. Okay, what is a value? So, for this week, what we're basically going to be doing is we are going to be reviewing place value, rounding, decimals, multiplication, just a wide variety of things. Because we need to have this down concrete before we move on next semester. Sorry. Now, up here, we're going to label the place value. And for me, the easiest thing to do is to start at the decimal. So I'm actually going to turn this paper sideways. And I'm going to start here. So on the left side of the decimal, that is my whole numbers. So what is the first place here by my whole number? I'm sorry, the first whole number we have here. That's in the ones place. Or some call it unit. And remember, for the ones, you have a max number of 9 that you can have in there. If anything above, it gets kicked over to the next place, which is the tens. Okay. After that, we have the hundreds, thousands, and then right here you would have a comma. Whoa, sorry, wait, reverse, wrong place. You'd have your comma right here. Sorry, got ahead of myself. Okay, so we have ones, tens, hundreds, comma, thousands. Then you have 10,000s. After 10,000s, you have 100,000s. Now, after every third number like this, you put that comma. And then you have millions. All right, so this is your whole numbers. Ones, tens, hundreds, comma, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, comma, millions. Now, let's go down to our next portion, which is the decimal portions. So this is our whole number. This is part of a whole. And the very first one we have, okay, it's not the ones, it's the tenths. Okay, the tenths. You write that, the tenths. Following that, you have the hundredths, which is like this. Then lastly, you have your thousandths. Okay. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths. Part of a whole, whole number. Now, this decimal, when you go and read it, when you read this decimal, you read it by saying and. Okay? That's all we got to do. Okay. Now, if you need some more time to fill that out, you can push pause. If not, we're going to continue on. Now, I said earlier, a few seconds ago actually, that all numbers to the left, this is the left of the decimal, are what? They're whole numbers. All right, all numbers to the left are whole numbers, which means that all numbers to the right are part of a whole number. Okay, so all the numbers to the left are whole numbers. All to the right are part of a whole number, or parts of a whole number. Sorry. Now, each place has a value of some form of 10, whether it's a whole number of 10 or a tenth. So it's either going to be a value of 10 or 1/10. You can see right here, what I mean by that is we have 1, and then it goes up to 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, million. So each place went up by 10. 10 times 1 is 10. 10 times 10 is 100. 100 times 10 is 1,000. 1,000 times 10 is 10,000. 10,000 times 10 is 100,000. And then 100,000 times 10 is a million. That's the whole number side. But if we go this way, we have 1/10, and it gets smaller by 1/10. And once again, it gets smaller by 1/10. All right. Now, when the decimal moves to the right, so like this decimal right here, if it were to move to the right, the decimal moves to the right, that means the number is getting bigger. Okay? So if the decimal moves to the right, to the left, to the right, it gets bigger. If the decimal moves to the left, it gets smaller. You need to remember that information, okay? It's very important. So what we're going to do right here is we're going to work through 3 problems right here. We're going to write them out and expanded in word form. Now, we already have the number written out in standard form. Now, standard form is just how you would write it down normally. That's what standard form is. We have expanded form and word form. Now, remember, expanded form is when you are expanding it out larger. And in this case, we are going to be doing multiplication through that process. And then word form is you just have to write it out. So let's look at this. Okay. I have 5,000, and I know it's 5,000 because it's 4 numbers. 5,236, and so we're going to say this number, 201, and it's right here in the third place, so thousandths. Okay, so actually I'm just going to go ahead and write the word form down. So I have 5,000 236. And as you can see, I have not wrote the word and here at all. And that's the correct way to do it. You only write and when you have your decimal. So 5,236 and write the number out. 201, and it's in the thousandths place. So that's how you would say that, or write that number out. 5,236 and 201 thousandths. So let's write it out expanded. We're just multiplying, basically. So we have 5,000. So that means I would do 5 times 1,000 plus the 2 is in the hundredths place. So 2 times 100 plus the 3 is in the tens place, so 3 times 10 plus 6 times 1. I'm not finished yet. We have to do the decimals now. And see, we're multiplying by tens here. Now we got to multiply by the tenths. So now I'm going to go plus. Now the 2 is in the tenths place. So I'm going to go 2 times 1 tenth plus. Now we have a 0. You don't have to put anything for the 0. But I find that some people like to have it written down so they don't forget and do it wrong. So that's 0 times 100ths. And then I have 1 times 1,000ths. So you have just wrote that in expanded and word form. Looks blurry for my computer. That's a little better. Okay. So if you need a minute to write this all down, please pause the this and write it down. All right, the next one, we have the word form that's been given to us. So I have 978 and 96 thousandths. So I have an and here, so I know that I'm going to have a decimal. Okay, so let's look at the whole number. 978. I can write 978. And 96 thousandths. So before you just start writing 96, you have to remember we're in the thousandths place. So I have the tenths, hundredths, thousandths. Okay. Now, when we say 96 thousandths, that means that the last number is in the thousandths place. So what I do is I write it like this. And then I put the 0. So that is 96 thousandths. Okay, expanded form. This is not going to be as long as the other one. So I have a 9 in the hundredths place. Plus a 7 in the tens place. Plus an 8 in the ones place. Now, once again, you do not have to write that 0, but some people like to because they're afraid they're going to, instead of putting 9 times 100ths, they may just put 9 times 1/10 because it's the first number they write down. So 0 times 1/10 plus 9 times 100ths plus 6 times 1,000ths. And there you go. All right, last but certainly not least, I have expanded down here. Now, when we do this, you have 2 times a million, 3 times 10,000, 5 times 1,000, 8 times 100, 1 times 10, and then 9 times 1. So I do not have any decimals. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take this little sticky note here. I don't have to do that. I can use my paper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do things. Okay, so I have million, 100,000, 10,000, 1,000, 100, 10, 1. So now I'm just going to go through here and write out the numbers. So the 2 is in the millions place, so that goes right here. The 3 is in the 10,000s place. So 1, 10, 100,000, 10,000. So the 3 goes right here. 5 in the thousands place. 8 in the hundreds place. 1 in the tens place. And 9 in the ones place. We did not have 100,000ths, so that means we get to do a 0. So now we need to write the number out. So I know we're going to have 2 million. I'm going to go ahead and write that down. 2 million Now, I'm not going to write 0, 3,500,000, whatever. It's just 35,000. Okay, 35,000. 2,035,000 800 19. And there we go. All right, that's page 1. Page 2, I'm going to say the number, okay? And you're going to finish out the other 2, okay? So for the very first one, and I'm going to use a different color ink, here's your number. All right, so now what we need to do is you're going to do the word form and expanded form. Now, I cannot say that number because I'll give you the word form, okay? Take this number, write it out. If you need to, draw yourself, or you can even find it online and print it if you're able to get a printer or copier. Oh my word, went blank. I'm sorry. A place value chart. Just went blank. A place value chart. Get one of those and it helps. All right. Number 2. Here's your number. Okay, this is your next number. 8 times 100,000 plus 2 times 10,000 plus 9 times 100 times 1 plus 1 times 10 plus 6 times 1 plus 7 times 100. So you need to write this down in standard form and word form. Okay, next one. Let's see. That does not look how you spell 18. I think that is though, how you spell 18. I just went blank on how you spell 18. I think that's how you spell 18. I'm talking to myself. 1,018 and 253 thousandths. Okay, next one is 101.10. Y'all got that, okay? So, your job, you can go ahead and pause it after I do this. Finish this up, okay? All right. Now, this right here is a program, and you're probably going to be familiar with it because we used it last year. It's from... I'm just having a great day right now. Mastery Connect, okay? And basically all this is just a review. So we're just going to walk through this with a review. Now, you may need a scratch sheet of paper, and that's fine. And that scratch sheet of paper, on one side you might have a place value chart, the other, whatever floats your boat. Okay, enter the answer into the space provided. How many times larger is the value of the 9 in 39,200 than the value of the 9 in 3,920. So, your best thing to do for number 1, let's write the numbers out. 39,200. And then we have 3,920. Now, what you're going to do, underline the 9s, because that's what we're looking for. I have a 9 here and a 9 here. What is the value of this 9? It's in the thousands place. Okay? So that means it's worth 9,000. What place is this 9 in? What's its value? It's in the hundreds place, so that means it's worth 900. Now, so I have 9,000 compared to 900. How many times larger is this 9,000 compared to the 900? Look at it. How many tens would I have to multiply 900 by to get 9,000? Look at the zeros. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. That means I need one more zero. So that means that 900, I'm sorry, no, that means 9,000 is 10 times larger than 9,000. I'm sorry, 900. Okay, let's start all over. That means that 9,000 is 10 times larger than 900. Because if I take the 900, multiply it by 10, I get 9,000. So that means that our 9 and 39,200 is 10 times larger than the 9 and 3,920. So you have the 9,000 versus the 900. Okay. So similar thing's going to go on right here, number 2. It says, which number does the 3 have a value that is 10 times as great as the value in 23? Well, first, we have enough room we can write down here. What is the value of the 3 in 23? Well, it's 1. So it's just 3. Now it says, which number has a 10 times the value of that 3? So that means if I have a 3 right here and it's in the ones place, what number is 10 times 3? Well, that 3 times 10 equals 30. So that means I need to find a number that the 3 has a value of 30. Okay. So I have 23 hundredths. The 23 hundredths, the 3, has a part of a value. That means it's worth 3 hundredths. 2 and 3 tenths. That means the 3 has a value of 3 tenths. 230. The 3 is in the tens place, so that means it has a value of 30. 2,300 means the 3 has a value of 300. So which one, okay, of these numbers does the 3 have a value of 30? And we can see it's right here. See, when you have these problems, talk yourself through them. Use logic. Just don't get to it and say, oh, crap, I don't know what to do. You do. All right. Which statement about the value of the digits 7 and 5 in the number 75 and 57 hundredths is true? Now, for this one, your best bet, I'm in the wrong one, is to work each letter out. Okay? Just work each letter out. It says the value of the 7 is 10 times, the value of the 7 in the tens place. So if I were to have that, So 75.57. Okay, so it's saying that the 7 in the tens place is 10 times the value of the 7 in the hundreds place. Do you remember what I said over here? That I said each one of these has a value of 10? Okay. Well, that means that if you were to say this 7557, that this 7 is only 10 times larger than that 7. But if you can tell, it's more than one place. So it's actually 10, 100, 1,000 times larger. So that's a no. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to write this down again. Actually, if you wanted to, this is when your place value chart would come in handy. I'm just going to put this right here. Tens, ones, decimal, tenths, and then hundreds. 5.57. Okay. It's saying that the 7 in the tens place is 1/10 the value of the 7 in the hundredths place. Well, we know that that's already false because we've discovered by using this that it's 1, 2, 1,000 times larger. So B is false. Okay. The value of the 5 in the tens place is 10 times the value of the 5 in the ones place. Now, when it says 10 times, that means it's 10 times larger. So they're saying that this 5/10 is larger than 5. That's like saying a nickel is 10 times larger than $5. It's not true. Okay, this next one. The value of the 5 in the tenths place is 1/10 the value of the 5 in the ones place. This means that it's 10 times 1/10 of it. That means it's like smaller than. So it's saying that the 5 in the ones place is 10 times larger than the 5 in the tens place, which is true. So D. That's why it's important, like when you have these, and this is a great review method that we used last year, it's good to talk yourself through each problem. With that being said, and because this cuts me off at a certain time, I'm going to stop the video right here, and we're going to continue with part 2. All right? See you in a minute.